I was recently out with some friends and took a little trip, and we were out in the woods for a little while, and one of the guys that I was with liked the knife that I was carrying and asked me about it. So I thought I'd do a video to show how I make a knife out of a planer blade. This is an old planer blade, and that's what this video will be. Alright, this video is going to show you how I make a knife out of a planer blade from start to finish. Here's a planer blade. And the steel on these, I'm not 100% sure what it is. I believe it's M2 steel. A lot of planer blades are D2, but I believe these are M2. My heat treat oven does not get hot enough to treat M2. So I'm going to just grind the knife as it is. So to start, I just take a 15-inch blade and cut it in half. Next up, I want to take these, I'm just going to do one of them, and profile it. I've got this sharp edge here on the planer blade I want to knock off, and here's where I cut it. And if you can see that, the color has changed there, so I've changed the temper there. And I don't want to change the temper of the knife because I'm not going to heat treat it, as I said. So this will be the handle part of the knife, and the tip will be out here. But I'm not going to wear gloves because I want to feel it if it gets hot. I've got a bucket of water down here to keep things cool. And stuff out of the way, and go ahead and start. I should say too, I'm going to grind real slow because again, this is very hard steel. It goes through belts pretty quick, but it is what it is. Now that I've got the basic shape that I want and the size that I want, I'm going to knock off some of the chunks of rust and things that are on there. Got the rough edges smoothed out, and next I'm going to start my hollow grind. I'm going to change the belt and be right back. Alright, new belt's on, and I'm going to start hollow grinding. Alright, the initial grind is done with a 50 grit belt using a hard rubber serrated wheel. Next thing I'm going to do is replace that wheel with a soft wheel. It's just a wheel with 1/4 inch felt on it. Just has a little more give to it. Soft rubber wheels work well too, but when I do that, I do very little to no, because I'm not going to be able to hand sand this. Sanding on this won't do a thing, so I won't have to do any hand sanding if I use that soft wheel. So let me change that and be right back. Okay, with the soft wheel on, and then I put that worn out 50 grit belt that I was using to profile on it. I'm going to continue grinding and get that pretty close to as thin as I want it, and then the rest of the belts will be to refine it a little bit. Alright, I've ground it. I used a 120 and a 220 and a 400 following the 50 grit, and got it pretty much where I want it. Next step, but not for today, is to drill the holes in the tang for the pin. Now I'm going to use carbide bits, but I've broken so many carbide bits drilling through these planer blades that I need to soften that steel up, and I'll do that tomorrow. Well, the plan was to soften the tang a little bit with a torch, kind of anneal it a little bit just to make it easier to drill through, but I'm out of acetylene, so plan B is just to drill it. Now, the only way you're going to get through this is with a carbide bit, and you've got to go slow, take your time, otherwise you'll break and dull bits rather quickly, so let's get started. The holes drilled, the next step is to make some handle material. We're going to make a blue jean crash carta for this one. Next step is to make the handles for it. I'm going to make a blue jean crash carta. I'm just using plain old Bondo fiberglass resin. The brand does not matter. I've already got it mixed up. I've got about 11 ounces in here, and I've got the hardener already measured into shot glass. So let's get started. And once I start, I got to work fairly quick because it's kind of warm today and sets up rather quickly. what you missed, and I couldn't take the camera with me because my hands were covered with, or gloves were covered with resin. I just clamped it up. It's got a little mold to keep it from squirting out the side. The bottom has a piece of steel on it, and then I clamp a piece of steel on it. Let that set up, and then take it out of the mold. Using parchment paper. Parchment paper does not stick to the resin, so I used to use wax paper. Parchment paper, much better. What I'll be using to cut up the piece of crash carta or micarta that I pulled out of that mold is just a portaband saw. I've got a small table bandsaw, but this seems to cut quite a bit better. And then I've got a table that I use. It's from Swag Off-Road that I really like. Let me get the camera set up here and get it turned on. Right back. Cuts through it fairly easy. It should. It cuts through steel too. I'm going to clean up these edges on the grinder, then trace the blade out and do a little more cutting. I'm going to end up with two scales. I'm going to flatten those out and put a liner on them. Now, I didn't bore you with cutting out these liners. Just a waxed cardboard material. Most knife supply places sell it. And I didn't bore you with mixing epoxy. But the key to a good adhesion, I think, for epoxy and fiberglass is to make sure that you mix it well. So I did. And then I just press it. I just use a piece of granite. Let it sit on there and make sure that the handles don't slide off the spacer material. Check it. This one slid a little bit. And then put a weight on it. I use a 8-pound sledgehammer. When that sets up, we'll put them on a knife. Next up is to attach the scales. So first I want to drill the holes in them. And the way I do that is line them up that way and then clamp it. And then just hold it under the drill press to show you that. And then I just get the hole started this way. And then finish the holes. Then I do the same thing to the other side. Next, after I've got both sides drilled, I just take some bamboo skewers and put them through the pinholes so they'll hold them even like that. And as you can see, the front end isn't even. So that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to even them up and round them a little bit on the grinder. And then I will do the same thing with a little bit finer grip belt to give it a better finish on the end. And then we'll attach the scales. Alright, I've got the holes drilled in the scales. I've got some brass pin, started with 1/8 inch stock. I rough it up on the belt sander so that it grips a little bit better. Got epoxy, got a stir stick, and I am ready to go. You may notice I've got a 1 here and a 1 here. I've actually got 4 or 5 knives working, but to make sure I get the right scale on the right side of the knife, I just write a number on it. As you can see, this is 1 and 2. The next knife is 3 and 4, 5 and 6, and so forth. Less mistakes that way. I'm going to do a little sanding on the handle. I apologize, I did start already. I used the big grinder inside to knock off the edges here and bring it down around, but I mean nothing much to see. And now I just do my shaping on a little cheap 1x30 belt sander. I'm going to start with an 80 grit belt, then go to a 120, a 220, and then a 400. We'll see how that goes. Alright, that's got it pretty well. This last belt was 400. I still need to do a little hand sanding.
check for how it feels in the hand.
Okay, the handle, I finished hand sanding it, and I want to buff it up. I have a larger buffer, but for doing the handles, I like using this little one here. So. There you have it. Well, the knife is done, the sheath is done, and this is what the result is from making a knife out of a planer blade. I like the way it came out. And Greg, if you want it, this one is for you. But of course, if you'd rather have one that looks like that, I would understand. Thanks for watching.